I'm Reza. I'm a sophomore at UVA. I'm studying computer science, and I'm actually doing an double English major as well. And today I'm going to be interviewing Mike Tata, right? Mike is the owner of Tata Hardwoods and is also a member of NWSA. That's right? Awesome. And NWSA stands for the National Wood Flooring Association. It's a not-for-profit trade association representing all segments of the hardwood flooring industry, including manufacturers, distributors, retailers, installers, importers, exporters, inspectors, consultants, everything. So, hi, Mike.
Hello.
My first question for you is, how would you describe your typical work day, and what is the first few years of your career like?
Okay. Well, right now with our business, we're a growing company, and as an owner, I wear a lot of hats. So I'm not sure that I have a very typical day, but if everything went according to plan and I could choose the way my days would go, I typically spend the first few minutes of my day planning out all of my priorities and how I want to accomplish them throughout the day, and then spend the rest of the day executing those. And then there's a million interruptions, and days can go in 100 different directions. But my responsibilities as far as our company goes, I do all the sales functions right now. I purchase a lot of materials, schedule them to deliver to job sites, schedule jobs for the guys to do. And I also do all of the financial functions of our company. So as a small business owner, I wear a lot of hats.
Doing everything.
Yeah.
Carrying all the weight.
So it's funny you ask how the first few years went. The first few years in a summary would be, I spent those years becoming a really good wood floor guy until I hit the point where I realized I was a great wood floor guy, but not a very good business owner. So since then, my learning curve has been learning the business functions of really trying to lead and run an organization that's growing. But my first few years were spent just installing wood floors, learning how to sand and finish them, learned a lot of things by trial and error, and kind of went through the school of hard knocks, but I enjoyed the trade right off the bat. So.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. I guess, like, what kind of high school or college courses would you say have been the most applicable or important for what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
What courses do you wish you might have taken?
Okay. Some basic accounting courses would have been great and helpful for my current responsibilities. Any kind of carpentry or shop class would have been helpful.
Right.
I did work as a framer on a framing crew in high school, and that experience, just learning how to use tools and the basics of carpentry, speed square, and how to make cuts with miter saws and table saws and skill saws, all of those things were probably more helpful for me than anything I had, in my high school. But in addition to that, I think maybe a course on how to read blueprints or that kind of thing would have been helpful and benefit me for sure in my current role and how to estimate things. Yeah.
Cool. And then the other one is, what kind of job experiences, what kind of apprenticeships or internships would best prepare you for this occupation?
Yeah. So I already mentioned I benefited a lot from working on a framing crew in high school. I came from a family where you weren't allowed to sit around. So I worked jobs from the time I was 12 years old. I ran a lawn business when I was a kid. I worked in grocery stores and hated every minute of that. I worked, like I said, on a framing crew. And then when I got into college, I actually got into wood flooring with a friend of mine that I knew, and he installed wood floors in Milwaukee, in the Milwaukee area. And so I worked all summer long. I lived with him and his family, and that's how I got into the trade. But all of those experiences, really any kind of working experience is beneficial. You
Yeah,
learn people
makes
skills.
sense.
You learn mechanical skills. A lot of things that end up contributing, and you never know how or when you're going to use them down the line.
So there's not just like one path that you're supposed to take. You're saying just, get out there, get work experiences. It's all applicable.
So a part of this interview is to give advice to young people. I encourage them
Mm-hmm.
to have as many and various experiences they can
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of different fields. And if I were to do it over again, I wouldn't change a whole lot, but I may have tried even a few other things, because
Really?
then the more you do, the more context you get in what you enjoy and what you don't, and maybe what you're kind of naturally gifted in.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say are like the benefits of being part of your association?
Yeah. So being part of the NWSA is a huge benefit. In the early years for me, I knew virtually nothing. So I started
Mm-hmm.
going to their technical trade schools, and I learned the right way to do things, from square one. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess the benefit in that for me was I was not taught the wrong way to do things, and I didn't have a lot of bad habits to break.
Mm-hmm.
They're also very beneficial with the networking opportunities, the people
Yeah.
you get to know.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a technical hotline you can call if you have questions, and they'll connect you with people who have, had a lot more experience than you do in the trade when you're up against something you're not sure of.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to know guys all over the country that do what you do at their expo every year, or when you're there attending one of the schools, and you build friendships, guys, you collaborate, and you feed off one another and sharpen each other in the trade. And in addition to all the networking and the technical training, they obviously have established standards, so installation and sand and finish guidelines. And as someone who submits yourself to that higher standard, there is the ability to market that to clients and establish yourself as someone who is conscientious about best practices in our trade, and holding yourself to those standards, and delivering a really quality product.
Awesome. Yeah, makes sense to me. So like specifically, what kind of networking opportunities did you participate in as part of the NWFA?
Yeah, can you tell I studied these questions ahead of time, because they're all like meshing together? I answer one before you ask it. The networking opportunities with the NWFA, you get to know manufacturer reps, you get to know guys who've got 20, 30 years experience. You get to know people who work for the NWFA full time. I mean, it's a cool trade. It's a cool organization. But it actually, once you start going to some of the events, starts feeling really small. Like, you can get to know the major players in the industry really quickly, and benefit greatly from, people they know and things that they know, and just get plugged into a lot larger community and body of knowledge.
Awesome. What do you find most surprising about your career?
Yeah, this is a good question. When I first started doing wood flooring, of course, I had a lot of construction experience, mostly in carpentry and in framing houses and things like that. What I liked most about hardwood floors was the immediate and dramatic transformation that it can make in a space. So literally in a matter of a day, you go in, tear out crappy floor coverings, put in a beautiful wood floor, you look over your shoulder at the end of the day, and it's a totally new space. Nothing else that I know of is that quick of a turnaround. I like aesthetics, I like design, and I like being able to see what I do and just the instant gratification of it. I also like that it's done inside in a controlled environment, so we're not necessarily subject to the weather, and we can do work, all year long.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add for people who are maybe looking to consider this occupation, or people who are trying to get into hardwood flooring?
Yeah, I would advise people who are wanting to get into hardwood flooring to find a well-established company that has an internship or an apprenticeship opportunity where you can kind of dip your foot in the water first and find out if it's something that resonates with you. It can be a really rewarding career, but it's for a certain type of person who really enjoys working with their hands and enjoys the technical aspect of it and the carpentry of it, and is not afraid to work hard. And a lot of guys, including myself, are wired that way.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike. It's been an awesome interview. Yeah. So I hope you guys learned more about the NWFA. For more information, please visit the NWFA Q Career page and find out how NWFA can help you with your career development. Until next time, have a good week. Goodbye.